And you know what's also especially devastating? I'm sorry, I just keep on ranting, honano, because I don't understand why anything. And every time there's a power cut, I get especially livid because I would never, ever, given that I'm filled by the Holy Spirit and I'm normal up here, just take in my stride. A whole career, thriving, the power cut 24 hours a day. Solar energy. I was gonna in my own individual house in an estate. The only one the country has been made dull. South Africa, why similar to a fiber to the home project, where instead of it being Wi-Fi, but for a whole like neighborhood block, electricity. I don't understand it. So now I never in my stride would have taken the power cuts, and I keep like do on Sundays load shedding stage freaking 98 for what for any. I would be the only one go jarating, only one go estating, only one go in the entire neighborhood. Oh khanyang, waiting one because I'm a child of God, and the common sense like just is the bread of the saints. It just makes sense. South Africa, but when you can come up with an FTTH similar type strategy in order, however, to get electricity instead of it being Wi-Fi. I don't understand it. Like South Africans are just taking it because they're under a spell, but I'm not. I'm a Christian. So every time because I would not have taken this in my stride, even though everybody else is happy to just sit under load shedding stage 1098. Like I literally get vus. And in Borang situation is that while I don't subscribe to feminism, while I don't subscribe to the whole independent woman to a point where you don't need a man thing, I definitely cannot stand for the life of me the fact of being slid into my DMs by men who are substandard in comparison to me, and so think now that they stand a chance. And so the likelihood of me marrying well is very low precisely because I'm in poverty. Any Tom, Dick and Harry and a young Boranto and a strategy vele side family members lead friends rough randomly relationship being rough random for 5 years. Do you understand? Ever since that random fool, I went to the Lord and I was like, never again never again. And so precisely the very thing that I went to God to heal me from, the dumbness or the naivety of a woman dating a guy thinking they can fix him, the very naivety that I am fleeing from is pursuing me. So than to receive a DM, go Facebook, get some guy in that I can see, or the post I got 29 following which I send a DM because pick it up that based on my posts I'm suffering. Otherwise, if he had not seen all of that suffering, he wouldn't have slid into my DMs. So it's not even that I don't like being slid into the DMs of, it's the fact that men who know they don't like make sense for a woman like me for a myriad of reasons, like we are just incompatible, blah blah blah. Why again? And just feel like because of a pretty face I get them they think that they can downsize my standards and what it is that I have sought the Lord's face for in a husband because and I don't have daily bread properly. Ke borwa ke taba hore batho bang tlhopegisitse be bang shelisa ka banna ba sang tshwaneleng, banna of which le bona ba tseba deep down inside hore bang tshwanele mara ba shela anyway because ba bona hore ke sotlegile. What is going on? Wait again, Boloi ne? I'm sorry, I can't deal. I literally cannot deal. I pray for the life of me because ke khathetse ke ntwa. Ke khathetse ke taba South Africa has made out of me mantwa ne. I can't deal le taba ya hore ke dula ke lwana. Ke desire more than anything ho ya high. I want to go home in the rapture. I want to go home to heaven. I don't want to be sitting around in this filthy environment indefinitely. And I also don't want to go into court where I am going to have a whole bunch of liars deny what they've done. And I have to then go out of my way to gather all of this exculpatory evidence to prove that I am innocent. I don't want that whole laborious process. I am already 38. I am literally bordering on being 40. And I don't have time. Into the future. I don't want issues. I would much rather go home. But I am so thoroughly aware of the fact that I am seriously indignant over what has happened to me. That hanga grabo phelo baka beke ga go fa motho phumulo until nna ke thola justice. Meaning that my husband will likely not be 100% comfortable in the marriage because I'm always fighting. I'm always going to court and I'm always trying to like war with witches who will be trying to come up at me with spiritual weapons, and so I'm always going to be exhausted. Our family is going to constantly have cups and saucers and poltergeists flying around in the room because of witchcraft from witches who are resisting my lawsuit. So I would much rather go home. I would much rather go home in the rapture, precisely because the indignation is too much for me to just let it go now because I'm happily married. I am going to frustrate my kids and my husband just seeking justice. And the level of spiritual manipulation and corruption in the sky that is going to come from the occult is going to influence the minds of judges, of lawyers, of all these random different kinds of human beings to a point of being like irresponsible in their decision making despite evidence gawking at them, because that's what witchcraft does. It manipulates the outcome of a situation even if it's bizarre, even if it doesn't make sense. Even if Moto is not supposed to be let go on nothing but a fine, they nonetheless get let go on nothing but a fine. So I am facing a potential future of going to court with like heaps of evidence that is damning, that nonetheless would just be slid underneath the carpet, ignored, because there is some sorcery in operation. I don't have time to be dealing with that. I don't want to be fasting and praying for the rest of my life just to get justice, but I am not the kind of person to let stuff go. I'm not. So I get to literally I pray for the life of me that the Lord with the rapture will take me home so justice can be effected by a holy God. So justice can be affected by the King of the universe, so I won't have to run up and down Kokoto Casey that should be finished in like 1 month, that's nonetheless going to drag for 5-6 years. Divorce. Like I pray that Christ comes back, because guys, I'm going to fight until I get justice. And if I don't get that justice, I'm going to fight to show the whole world that they didn't give me justice. I will never stop. It's been 8 years since I get on this thing, 8 years, and I'm still are they gonna stop? They have a vested interest in bewitching me until I breathe my last. So it turns out, or maybe I might even die. That's what's good. So ke modimo hanga khutla he. Ke ha ka khutla because ha sa khutli nna kolwana. And ntwa teng yo bora monna le bana.